The government still waits upon a foreign minister as all other new ministers have been voted into parliament during an oath ceremony in front of President Ilir Meta, officially launching their duties. To prevent the phenomenon of artificial voter transfers in electoral districts, the chair of the Central Election Commission has threatened any mayor who allows this to occur to reap criminal charges. One day after President Meta returned the law on cadastre for review to the Assembly, the head of Aluizni, Artan Lame, said that on 14 pages of law reform, Meta has stated nothing. Good evening. It's 6 o'clock on Thursday, the 17th of January, 2019. Welcome to the English edition of Aura News. My name is Oliver, and I'm here to bring you the day's top stories from across the country, translated into English. The cabinet ministers of the new government have given their oath in front of President Ilir Meta, thus launching their work in their new respective departments. Ariane Brache will be the new Deputy Prime Minister of the country. Anila Denai will be the new Minister of Finance. Belinda Baluku will be the new Infrastructure and Energy Minister. Elva Margariti will be the new Minister of Culture. Bessa Shahini will take on the Ministry of Education. Bledi Tsuchi will be the Minister of Agriculture. Edward Salci, the Minister for Protection and Entrepreneurship. And Elisa Spiropali will be in charge of the Ministry for Relations with Parliament, a ministry that was created for the first time in this governing mandate. There is just one post for foreign minister which remains open after the refusal of Gent Sakai by President Meta, but Prime Minister Edi Rama has proposed himself for the post. There is still no decree by the president to appoint the prime minister to the post of foreign minister, but there is time until Tuesday of next week where the decision is expected to be taken by the president over the weekend. Even though the Prime Minister can be decreed as a foreign minister, Rama has stated that he will hold the post until the Constitutional Court is established, when he will again propose Gent Sakai for the position. The Central Election Commission Chair, Clement Zguri, has warned mayors and civil law office officials that they will be prosecuted if they organize fictitious registrations for the June 30th elections. During a media statement, Clement Zguri said that this phenomenon, which has been observed in past elections, can now be easily verifiable and will be monitored. He stated, "In the previous election processes, the Central Election Commission has not only observed, but in fact has ascertained that in some municipalities of the country, the phenomenon of artificial residence transfers among supporters of those who run as candidates for mayor have themselves participated in an illegal activity regarding the results of the voting process. Many candidates in the past have benefited from this via votes from these artificial voters. The artificial alteration of one's residence is a pure misuse of duty which has serious consequences on the democratic system as it affects the elected government. Many voters vote artificially and they are unjustly deleted from the current list. The Central Election Commission will denounce all mayors and heads of the civil registry offices whenever faced with these hard facts as soon as we can verify such a situation is occurring and without waiting for the completion of the election process," stated Clement Zguri. Zguri called upon Edi Rama and Luzin Basha to declare themselves against this phenomenon. He stated, "That is why I invite the majority and the opposition leaders to publicly declare themselves against it, in order to remove any political support from this form of illegal influencing." The June 30th elections are a very important implementation for democracy. But this time around, they are more than just that. They are proof for Albania in its process of integration into the European Union. Meanwhile, for voters, there was an appeal to check the names on the electoral list. We call on voters to check the names on the electronic voter list off the CEC's official website. Zguri went on to state, "Until May 21st, 2019, there is a possibility to address any concerns to the civil registry offices to specify their records. After this date, the lists become final. Voters who do not have their name on the list can only vote by a court decision." The head of Aluizni, Artan Lame, reacted today after the non-decree by President Meta for the cadastre law. At a press release, Lame said that this hurts many citizens waiting to register their property, reminding that even the president in his buildings is serving today are still without a certificate of ownership. He stated the President of the Republic did not decree the law on cadastre, instead putting up for reconsideration. Today, Mr. Mehta is the President of the Republic, but the building of the presidency in 1959 still stands without an ownership certificate. Before that, Ilir Mehta was chair of the Assembly, but even the Assembly Hall has no certificate of ownership. Even prior to this, Mehta had been a foreign minister, but also the foreign ministry has no property certificate. Mehta was prime minister, but the prime minister's office does not have a certificate of ownership, concluded Lame. Lame clarified that by not decreeing this law, it penalizes Albanian citizens. How do we explain the president's non-decree to 60,000 families waiting to close their legalization process? How do we explain this problem to 220,000 farmers who are currently waiting to register their land? How do we explain it to the 50,000 families who are waiting to legalize their old dwellings? And what do we say to those people who have more than 2.8 million properties that are waiting to be restored from their foundations because they are in poor condition? The return of the cadastre law penalizes every Albanian who has been forced to face these problems regarding their properties for more than a quarter of a century. Not only does the current prime minister lack any idea on property, but none of the other 34 prime ministers had any idea of how to go about property registration either. Lame went on to say, the law clearly states that property registration is under the control of the Ministry of Justice, but the cadastre agency is to be subordinate to the prime ministry, which will work to build the foundation of property reform. The mayor of Tirana, Erion Veliaj, has commented on the boycott of students. According to him, the only ones who lose from the postponement of lessons are the students themselves. He stated, I really hope that students will reflect on the few faculties that are not being taught for the reason that we all want school to end in July. If school ends in July, we can work to build in August and September, even in the rooms. But on the contrary, the only ones who lose from the postponement of lessons are the students themselves, not the political parties. Veliaj urged the students to return to their lessons to open the way during the summer months for the continuation of the full-time work on the university premises, so that the new academic year would find itself with decent environment. He stated, I am extremely enthusiastic that we are even able to work on the boys' dormitories just as we are doing with the girls' dormitories. I had a fantastic opportunity to meet with students who themselves turned into inspectors of all the arrangements that are being made in the dormitories. This is a dormitory that we have started to improve from its foundation thanks to the cooperation with the Turkish development agency TİKA, which we can thank the Prime Minister for after his request for immediate assistance in the beginning of the year, said Erion Veliaj. Veliaj urged companies operating in Tirana who can gain from financial opportunities to join the initiative to adopt a dormitory and contribute to its improvement. The area of Bulqiz was one of the municipalities where last week's snowfall and ice caused many problems not only in the mountainous areas, but also in the city. Hundreds of students across the city remained isolated and without services for days due to the snow depth of up to 1.5 meters. The mayor of Bulqiz, Milaim Damzi, said only the village of Ginovets in Trebisht remains blocked off. Even the city today remains covered by frozen snow of up to a few centimeters, and there are still difficulties for the circulation of vehicles and the movement of pedestrians. Snow precipitation has tapered off in all parts of the country, but low temperatures make black ice a problem in many national and rural roads. The Albanian Road Authority reports that in northern and central regions of the country, the segments of highway are only passable with snow chains, whereas in the south, the circulation of vehicles has returned to normal. As temperatures remain low, the Albanian Road Authority and police force recommend that drivers reduce their speeds and ensure the use of snow chains on the axes that are considered problematic. And that's the news across the country today. Thank you for watching our English edition this evening, and be sure to join me again every Monday to Saturday at 6 p.m. for the latest news from Albania. Once again, on behalf of Bora News, thank you and good night.